What's up, Print Fam? Happy Monday. Welcome back to the print shop. I got to work about a little bit before 9 because Taylor was shocked that I was here so early. He'd already been working on some pen orders and my automation screwed up. So I have an automation set to automatically delete all of the old work order files because basically Monday sends an email. That email is interpreted by Google Drive to create a sheet or a doc, I can't remember which it is. And then that document is automatically converted to a PDF, etc. So I have a automation that I wrote that then goes and once a week deletes the files. So there was some sort of mix up and it caused all of them to print again. And so Taylor ran one. Luckily it was a generic one that he actually likes it. So he's just going to keep the pens. But when he ran it, he was like, I've done this before and didn't run the rest of them. So now I basically said, if you come in on Monday morning and see a bunch of stuff there, don't run it. So we're like 2 for 2 on new policies. But first thing this morning, I'm going through all my emails, trying to get everything from the weekend, the orders that came through, different things. So we got like some blank pen orders, some regular pen orders, some people that want to pay. I recently introduced paying, like I'm charging for credit card fees. I haven't had the backlash really. I've had a couple of people be like, dang it. But kind of what I've decided is I either have to raise all my prices across the board or I need to charge the credit card fees. So through my credit card processor, I signed an addendum and now on my actual terminal, it will automatically charge for the fees. So that's super nice. I've just got a sign in the office that says that we are charging fees now, that there's a charge if you have a bounced check, that you can pay with check, cash, Zelle, electronic fund transfer, things like that. So everyone's been fine with it. And so that's the new policy. But I definitely, if you're needing a way to increase your prices a little bit, but scared to do so, and you do take credit cards, I would definitely suggest looking at just raising the price of the processing. Because again, I haven't had any backlash. Those that have had big orders, like I sent an invoice out that was an $11,000 order, and he replied back and said, "Hey, I want to pay you with ACH." That was yesterday, and this morning there was an email that said, "I just sent you a check instead." So being able to not have to spend 4% on processing fees, because the downside to it as well is you're paying 4% for the order plus 4% on tax, and tax you have to give to the government. So it actually costs you more than just the 4%. So, and in reality, like my in-person transaction fees are like 2.8 or 2.7, somewhere there, plus like a 10 or 30 cent transaction. My non-in-person are like 2.9, but you also have to pay an interchange fee if you're using like a traditional processor, which I am. And so part of that, like if I only run one American Express, I'm paying like the $12 connection fee. And so that's why my merchant suggested that I do 4%, because at 4%, it makes sure it covers all those things. And as long as you're upfront and clear about it, then it's not a problem doing that. So I charge 4%, whether they're doing it online or in person, but I do give them other means to pay for stuff. So Taylor's working on to-do lists, and then I'm going to finish up emails, and I'm going to try to get more stuff cleaned up today. That's the hope. We do have to press some bags and some gloves. Hopefully that'll work out okay. They're just heat transfer. They're a reflective heat transfer. So we got to get those pressed today because they need them tomorrow. So see you in a bit. So the other thing I was trying to do as part of the cleanup process is this heat press is broken. So when we ordered it from Heat Transfer Warehouse, it came up with an error. We sent the error to them. They just said, we'll send you a new one. So they did. The error code, according to the manual, says that it could be the temperature sensor or the display. So looking at everything, I took the whole thing apart. All the wires are properly connected. It does smell like it's burnt in here, but I don't know if that's just because the manufacturer or because something is actually fried. But just to be safe, I also took off this bottom plate, which was a bit painful. It's got insulation but you can clearly see that the temperature sensor is hooked up. But it is kind of interesting if you look at it. You've got power here, so basically it's in essence kind of like a toaster oven where it's just hot coils that are insulated. But you have power coming in, power coming out. That's what the switch controls. And then you've got the temperature. And then here inside, you've got basically wires for this relay button to do the auto open. And then here at the back, there is a magnetic sensor that can be tripped by this guy so that it can auto open. Now again, heat transfer warehouse sent a new one because this came broken. And so it's been sitting here and I'm no longer going to keep it because it's not worth it. It doesn't work. There's nothing apparently wrong and I can't spend more time on it. So we're going to throw it away. Probably see if there's someone online who wants to recycle it or take it off. If not, we'll get it into littler pieces and just throw it in the garbage can, which it's unfortunate. So I've been avoiding doing these cutting boards. We finally laid them out, and I feel significantly better because most of them are duplicates, except this one was confusing because it's the Beck Steads, and this is the Stred Becks. So it was confusing. We got the artwork done. We got it approved. One thing with the approval is they're like, I just trust your judgment. Do whatever you want. And sometimes I like that, but most of the time I hate it. I wish they would have done that with the business cards that I printed today that were ugly, but I don't like it when it comes to this. I'm also scared to do this because I think this is like walnut or something. Nope, it's acacia. Acacia? I don't know. It's terrible. Why should I trust you? You say Adelaide. No. I have no idea what it is, but it makes...
the woods in Minecraft. I don't know.
It makes me scared to run it. So we're going to try it. Off to the CO2. So I screwed up the first board, and we have to run the file a couple times. The first board isn't totally screwed up. I just had the alignment off because I pushed F2 instead of F1. So hopefully the customer's okay with it. We'll get the rest of them right. So one of the reasons I was avoiding doing the cutting board job, and this is just a fault that I have, is it's outside of my norm. Yes, it's something I can technically do, but it's outside of what I normally do. And because of that, it makes me not want to do it. I screwed up the first board by pushing F1 instead of F2, so the alignment's wrong. Hopefully the customer doesn't care. But again, that's why it's hard, especially when it's a customer provided product, why I also don't like doing it. Because then if I screw up, I feel bad, but I also let them know ahead of time if I screw up, I'm not going to replace it. So hopefully they don't feel bad. This is one of my bigger customers. So honestly, if they're like, oh, I don't like it, I would probably buy a new cutting board. I think these are just from Amazon, but that's one of my personal business struggles is when it's outside of like my normal like structure. It's hard to do, which then I postpone it, which then makes people upset. So I'm working on pressing these gloves, and I'm trying to avoid taking them off this card since the customer brought them to me. We've got these reflective heat transfer vinyl that we're doing. So what I found, the biggest issue is the thumb, because if I leave the thumb under there, then there's too much weird stuff going on. A Teflon pillow also doesn't fit in there, but if I move the thumb out of the way and then I actually use one of these silicone pads underneath it, it gives it enough of a squish that I'm actually able to get it on there. So looks nice, looks like it belongs, and we're doing it on both sides of the glove. So I'm not going to be super picky about making sure it's placed super accurate other than the right direction. So this is, again, another good example of why I don't like customer provided stuff, because it just sometimes is a challenge, which then makes me avoid it, which then causes problems. So don't avoid stuff. But if you need an idea, just keep playing, keep messing around. The other thing we did was some cool, there's some Klein bags that we ended up putting their logo on the bag itself. So we did the reflective on the bag, and then there's a blanket inside that we also did their logo on. So got those done. There were 10 of those, and I think there's like 30 or 40 pair of glasses. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do now. So I got all of the gloves done. Got to get those delivered. I'm either going to take them tonight before I go home, or I will do it tomorrow. One of the stresses that I always have every time I do the work instead of having Taylor do the labor of the work, I get a lot of emails. I got 50 emails during the time that I was working on that. Now, granted, some of them are like repeat emails because my online ordering system, every time I get a message, it sends one, and like my security program sends me an email. So a lot of them, like some of them were marketing. Like I got some from Wise and Sage and other promotional product distributors, not distributors, suppliers. So some of them are bogus and like I can just instantly delete. But like when I'm sitting there pressing, my watch is constantly going off, and it's constant. What message am I getting? Why am I getting it? What's going on? It's one of the stresses that I have, and why it's like I kind of want to hire a personal assistant, but I don't know if I'm ready to hire a personal assistant. A couple of the emails are legit. I don't like one of the emails because it's from someone who BCC'd me, which basically they found a bunch of print shops and promotional products companies and sent us all the same email, basically saying, we're trying to find someone else to do work with. Do you have minimums? Do you deliver? And just asking questions. I don't like that when it's just a blanket, hey, I'm looking for services, because usually for me, those customers have not been good. Now I am responding and I'm telling them I don't think I'm a good fit for them, but not because of that. I'm telling them that because they're in a city that's 45 minutes away from me. So I just don't think I would be a good fit for them, because with them asking if I deliver stuff, it's likely that that's a service they want. And I'm not driving 45 minutes to deliver 12-cent copies, which is probably what they're going to buy, because they specifically say our print needs range from 20-page orders to large 1,500 copies of 10-page booklets. So I'm answering their questions. I'm telling them I can do it. But again, I don't know if I'm a good fit for them. But right now it is 4 o'clock. So I'm just going to go through and get a bunch of these emails knocked out, as well as try to make sure that Taylor has something to do, because Taylor is now working from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. He did leave a little early today for a dentist appointment, but basically one of the things that I do now at the end of my day is make sure Taylor has something to do tomorrow until I get in, because I get in anywhere from 8 to 10-ish. So got to have something for him to do, so that he will do something while I'm not here. So my order from Amazon came a little early. So what I am actually doing now, before the end of the day, is I've got this ACM sign that I'm going to put this French cleat on. So what I'm doing right now is just scoring the back, because I don't have sandpaper. That'll give it a decent enough surface area to connect with, so that I can then have the epoxy hold the bracket on, screw the bracket to the wall, call it good. So I will link the supplies down in the description that I use to do this. And shout out to those on Facebook. I've normally paid to have someone else make my ACM, and they just do this, but I did it myself. So I asked in the Facebook group, and everyone said use 2-part epoxy or VBH or something like that. VHB tape. I felt better with epoxy, so that's what I'm using. Alright, I changed my mind. I did end up going and getting some sandpaper. I honestly just went next door to my brother's shop. Now, before I put the whatever it's called, I can't even remember, epoxy, I'm going to put some acetone, clean off the dirt. It's also clearing off my line, but it's mostly there, so I should still be okay. Basically, I just got JB Weld, JB Epoxy. So you are supposed to take a scrap piece, so I just got a scrap piece of paper. I'm gonna put a bunch of it on there. You have 5 minutes. So hopefully I can do this. But we're gonna mix this together really well. It came with the popsicle stick. So my plan is to mix, put this on, and let it sit. Hopefully there is not enough like weight from the French cleat that it can't just support itself. Hopefully I don't have to hold it or find something to hold it for 5 minutes. And hopefully I've made enough epoxy. I also probably should have put gloves on because I do not want this stuff on my hands. But knowing me, will probably end up happening. Probably not quite enough epoxy, but enough that it will be okay. Because I definitely was more liberal up here. So now we'll just spread this out a little more evenly. And this is a 40, I just got it on my finger, told you I would. It is a 46-inch, I lied. It's a 72-inch sign with a 42-inch bar. I definitely probably could have gotten away with a smaller one, but I wanted to be safe rather than sorry. And I definitely need to find something to weigh this down. Most of the epoxy is squirting up the holes where you normally put screws. I also just want to make sure that it's lined up. If I stop touching it, I probably don't need something to weigh it down, but it just makes me nervous. But I did get some on my finger. So basically this will go on here. This gets attached to the wall and it just slots in. Okay. Hopefully tomorrow will be good. Day's done. I'm calling it. Hopefully there's enough things for Taylor to do tomorrow until I get here. I did get a few more things organized, but I also made more of a mess, so hopefully tomorrow we can get the table more cleared off. Happy to get that like random glove order and the bag order done. That's my problem. It's like I tend to stress about like the odd things, and instead of just doing them, getting them done, getting them out the door, I stress and hold on to them. But the cutting boards are gone, so that was good. The gloves and stuff I'll deliver or have Taylor deliver tomorrow, or maybe I'll be lucky and they'll come pick them up, but I will probably end up delivering them. So good progress. got to get a few more things done. Like, I've got Taylor working on getting some stuff organized over there. I finally have the pen order coming on Wednesday, so it's not going to stock up as much as I'd hope, but I've already got an order placed, so that hopefully it'll be here in about a month and a half, depending on if they've got to manufacture anything. I think they do, so it might delay it, but I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks for watching, Pro Fam. If you have anything you want me to cover this week, let me know down in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.